Webazangako yakuyamba munange nakukwata ku mukono nakuyimsa. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Lero nzize kwebazawo bankwite kusiima eri abalina emitima egirumirirwa. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Ekigambo okuyamba tokizanyisa bangi babeera n'obusobozi n'ekibalema okukola. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Abamu bemulaba abanene mu nsi muno bakunyumiza gyavudde zikubamu ne zaaka. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Abangi kwabo bafiirwako abazadde ku myaka emimpi ddala wamma tunuulira obulumi. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Abalala basalawo n'okuddukira ku nguudo kubanga basigalawo okubayamba ab'ensamba. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Nammwe abayamba mumanyi okwefuula eri abo be muyambye ne mubasimbamu oluseke. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa. Eriyo ne bendabye abalaga okulumirirwa ne bajja ng'abayamba nga beenoonyeza byabwe. Webazangako yakuyamba baba nabako wakutusa.
Yes, once again, you're welcome to the African Reports. It's your host, aka Smoggy, and we are into the political lenses. Our area of focus today is strictly Uganda, a country which has made wonders with its political, electoral violence. That's why the choice of topic today was indeed from elections to brutal selections. That was election which was the 2025-2026. And we believe by the end of this discussion today, we would have gotten something. Your contribution is only just to share, call upon your friend, and let them know that we are on the road, ready to walk in the corridors of power, violence, governance, democracy, and trust issues of public, and how the public has been attributing to the political system in Uganda. Not only that, also the international involvement into this. But then again, as we dive into this topic of discussion, just allow me to introduce my guest. He always challenges me by prayers, then he comes late. Whatever happens to Eddie Cool, I don't know. Today, he came a little bit late, claiming he had to pray for the show. Something which was interesting. However, I don't know whether he was scared of whatever he's going to say. But then again, it is what it is. Well, Eddie, once again, you're welcome on our topic of discussion. The last time we had a talk, I think you were zeroing around the football, where Morocco, really, I don't know whatever happened, tried to crawl to the finals and, certain challenges. But Senegal made it right by walloping them a one, and, some challenges which has really created a lot of talkability in the football fraternity. Just shared a statement on whatever happened in AFCON before we switch gears to Uganda. Bwana Edi, you're welcome, and then say hello to the viewers who have just seen you today, and then shared us a statement on the African football. Then we go in the details of the political lenses. Eddie?
Hello, fellow Ugandans, wherever you are, I send you greetings. I sympathize with you all with whatever you're going through in your lives. We all have problems, but they are varied. So I sympathize with you all. I can't go into details what kind of problems, because some others are being arrested, others have been killed, others have lost loved ones. There are so many challenges we go through, but that's life. What is normally important to me, what I always look at, is hope. That we should always hope. Wherever there is an issue, a challenge in life, we should always be strong and know that we will overcome at some point. What is a constant in life is change. So you never expect to be in the same situation as always. I call upon fellow Ugandans, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, and those who love Uganda, who have Uganda at heart, thank you for loving Uganda. Thank you for loving Uganda and Ugandans. And about the football, let me say this, uh, folks: sports, sports, sports. Sport has a lot of challenges. We have bookers in sports. They are makers in sports. So it's always very challenging. Quite a number of things happen behind the curtains, sometimes that we don't even know, you know. So any sport elsewhere in the world, not only this AFCON, which happened in Morocco recently.
Mm.
What happened in Morocco recently is not new. It has always been happening everywhere in the world in football, you know. It has been happening everywhere in the world. I'll try to tell some people about Uganda when Jole George Wanuka, the father of today's Attorney General, was the chairman of Express. Now they played Simba, and Express used to be a very tough team in Nachivugo. Now, when they played Simba and the ref gave a penalty, the soldiers refused. They came on. They came. They said, "No, this can't happen. These fellows cannot win us. For us, we are soldiers." Those were mini soldiers, by the way. But then it was the Ugandan army, which was never known for being violent. By the way, the Ugandan army, it was a friend of the people. But that time in natural in football, things turned around. They became anti-people. There was a lot of chaos, and people had to take off from Nachivogo until they banned. I think they even stopped. They had stopped playing. They stopped playing matches in the barracks. That was in Bombo, where they used to have their their stadium. So in the
Mm.
sports, any kind of sport, what happened in AFCON? They the Moroccans really wanted to win. Huko Kuruk. They put in not only a lot of money, a lot of yes, that's what they wanted to do.
Mm.
What was missing in Morocco, in Casablanca, was Viabakama. If they had gotten a Viabakama around there, I think they would have won. So what we
But I
were
think by virtue of all sports analysts, they say there was a Biabakama at play. It's just that, the people power into the sports world, surpassed Biabakama's powers. And indeed, Senegal had to do the needful.
no
Uh,
Senegal. That match was tough, and it would have gone either way. But
mm,
Senegal had the day, and we must
mm,
accept that. But those the problem is those Moroccans, the Arabs, they don't they look at themselves as the Arabs, not Africans. That's another thing, which is very challenging.
mm,
Yes,
mm,
the Egyptians and the Arab and those Moroccans, they look at us as as Africans, as blacks, as not worthy anything. To them, they think they're superior race. That's one
mm,
thing I don't like about them. They think they're superior race. This is why you see that they also abuse our people who go to work in their countries, you know, because to them they think they are very, very superior. And this is why Ugandans, we should fight so much to make Uganda a better place so that we can live in Uganda and we also be superior in Uganda. But the problem is in Uganda, again, these foreigners, they come and they become superior to Ugandans. the Chinese, the Indians.
Yes, Bwana Eddie,
No.
let's leave sports alone. We came to deal with the issues of, Uganda's, Uganda's elections, where the choice of topic really suits whatever scenario really happened. And like I said, I'll just say actually for the Senegalese, yes, viva viva to you, and whoever participated into the AFCON, actually you're all winners. The mere fact that you participated, you really did something wonders, even though always someone has to take it all. But then again, like we said, we came to talk about politics, much as there's politics in sports. In line when it comes to this side, where on our choice of topic, I remember Bobby Wine said that there is, more politics in music more than in parliament. So let's strictly go direct to Uganda's politics by having a little rider, which is going to give us a sense of direction, and then we shall come back in gear number 2, and then we see exactly what we're going to look into. But what we need from you, the viewers, is just something very simple. Let your friends know, share, and while you're commenting, let us know where you are, and then it will give us a better way of how to avail our services to you. But let's have a rider, and then we'll go to gear number 2 as we go into deep the topic of discussion today.
When we are poor, we have nothing to eat. We please request you humbly to please consider these men, consider these women. Mr. President, this goes to all the leaders, those who are contesting to be leaders, and those who want to be leaders, and those who are leaders. Let us follow our motto as the country: for God and my country. For God and my country. Because when we do it for God, we do it well. And when we do it for our country, we do it together. Mr. President, we fought COVID-19. We contained the disease in Uganda. Why? Because there was no member of parliament flying to India. Because there was no anyone flying outside. If we build the hospitals, if we build the schools, if we build all these beautiful things, we shall achieve. Thank you very much. May God bless you. To protect the gains.
When I met Bishop Jumba here, some days ago, we had arrested a priest in Masaka because he was involved with Chagurai. They wanted me to release him. I said, no, can't release him. Can release him if they tell the truth and they stop. Because that's what our interest is, not to punish. Our interest is that they must stop doing this and never do it again. So therefore, I'm really I want to salute the people of Uganda. It's not just the security forces who are maintaining peace, it is also the people, including the NUP members. Very many of them. Yeah. I really thank the Ugandans. The Ugandans are you should be very careful with them. Yes, some of them have grievances, have this, have that, but once you go beyond certain stage, they will say, this one. In fact, what many of them are saying, to travel and say, Kubanga Libya. That's what they keep telling me. We don't want our country to be like Libya. So all the traitors, this is free advice from me, that please stop what you're doing, because we know everything, and you will not do it. Either peacefully or unpeacefully, we shall maintain the peace.
Our candidate is as follows. Bulira Frank Kabinga, 44,000. 328, representing 0.42% of the valid votes cast for the candidates. Kaswante Robert, 32,224, representing 0.30% of the valid votes cast. Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, 2,601,150. Maviris Joseph, 22,274, representing 0.21%. Sorry, in the case of Kyagulanyi, I beg your pardon, that tally represents 24.46%. 24.46% for Kyagulanyi, who has 2,601,150. Mugisha Gregory Muntu Oyera, 57,019, that is 57,019, representing 0.454 of the valid votes cast. Nyagwa Mubarak Serunga, 30,509 votes, representing 0.29% of the valid votes cast. Nandala Mafabi James Nathan, 202,802, representing 1.91% of the valid votes cast for the candidates. Yoweri Tuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni, 7,643,778 votes, representing 71.88% of the valid votes cast. The valid votes in total for all the candidates are 10,634,084. Invalid votes, 264,000.
A march to declare the end of a deadly, drawn-out election cycle. And the adding of 5 more years to President Museveni's 40-year rule. His party is here to celebrate the win. And his prime minister is here to represent the state.
And how will the government deal with unrest over the next 5 years if people continue to reject President Museveni's time in power?
Nobody has rejected President Museveni.
They're protesting. They've been protesting.
No, the protesters are engineered by those who have failed in this election. Of course, once you fail, you feel the pain.
The party members of opposition leader Bobi Wine are not here to express any pain. They've been banned from sitting alongside dignitaries, diplomats, and people of the cloth to witness the official results.
The votes that have been stolen.
All except Bobi Wine's lawyer, who walked out as their defeat was announced.
The results, as announced by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, are fraudulent, and they do not represent the will of the people of Uganda as expressed on the polling day. We have sampled the figures being displayed here with what we have obtained from the polling stations. Clearly, they do not match.
These allegations of election rigging are not dampening the mood of Museveni's supporters. And as they cheer in Kampala, cries of grief echo out 2 hours away. A victim of the security crackdown is being laid to rest. Sarah was hit by a stray bullet aimed at dispersing protesters. The day votes were counted and disputed. Her brother Samuel says she had nothing to do with politics.
You know this government, you're limited in how you speak about it. We are ordinary people, whether you know anything about it or not. She was walking alone and a bullet hit her.
This is the irreversible loss of political gain. The power of the ruling party, protected and preserved, no matter the cost.
Well, and how do we now even know if the elections are fair? Talk about no transparency, cutting down the internet. I mean, how is this election supposed to be credible?
That is the big question here. And Bobby Wine, the opposition leader, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, as is officially known, has said that all signs point to President Yoweri Museveni rigging this election. He's been in power since 1986. This is his 40th year in power. He's running for the 7th term. And he does not expect that this election to be credible, free, and fair because of the extreme violence and the tactics used by President Yoweri Museveni. President Yoweri Museveni's government says that protecting the gains and they have brought Uganda stability and economic growth, and he looks to continue that. But Bobby Wine told CNN a few days ago that if Yoweri Museveni rigs this election, the people of Uganda must rise up to defend their victory. So in the next few days, we'll get to know if he does win or it's another continuation of Yoweri Museveni's rule for another 5 years, bringing his rule into 45 years. The man is in his 80s now, and the signs of age are starting to show.
Yeah, I mean, he first took office in 1986, the year that I was born, and has been there that whole time.
And this time, Bobby Wine is asking Ugandans to cast a protest vote against the authoritarian government of President Yoweri Museveni. The way he sees it, Yoweri Museveni is a dictator who sees Uganda as his personal property and all Ugandans as his slaves. That's exactly what Bobby Wine told me a month ago when I spoke to him. On the same day he was campaigning in the capital Kampala, he was beaten up. His supporters were tear gassed. This has been a violent campaign through and through, and that is the backdrop of this election. 2 days ago, the government of Uganda shut down the internet, and the people of Uganda don't have access to the internet as we speak right now. So even getting any voting lines, video from Uganda has been difficult because even the media is having trouble covering this election, having to call reporters on the phone because they can't get any live video from that. The reason the government of Uganda shut down the internet is because they say this is to avoid the spread of misinformation, disinformation, to curb the potential for electoral fraud, and also to avoid any incitement to violence. Now, this has been criticized by many human rights groups, by the opposition there, as an authoritarian, repressive tactic.
Thank you. I'm Cornelius Azuo, the Deputy Executive Director of the Human Rights Commission. We take note of the regional complicity, and we are calling out the African Union and the East African community. A shameful betrayal of the African Charter on democracy, elections, and governance. To the African Union Commission, your January 17th statement congratulating Yoweri Museveni is not just premature. It is a profound betrayal of the African Charter on democracy, elections, and governance. By endorsing a declared result of 71.61%, while the nation was plunged into a total digital blackout, and Robert Kangulani, Bobby Wine's family, remained under illegal house arrest. The EU has signaled that it values the survival of autocrats over the lives of African citizens. You have chosen to ignore the documented abduction of NUP leaders, the nomination of candidates, the torture of activists, and the killing of citizens, effectively endorsing a crime scene as a democratic exercise. The AU's complacency today sets a dangerous precedent, suggesting that the Africa we want is one where sovereignty is stolen at the barrel of a gun, while continental body looks the other way.
Yes, and that was our rider. Many questions are left pending. Are we looking at Uganda picking up, or we're just heading into a sinking boat? My answer is as good as yours. But to those who've just joined us, you're welcome. This is Afrodead Reports. And tonight's topic, we're just looking at the previous elections that have been in Uganda, where we looked at it as elections that led into brutal selections. By the end of this discussion, I guess we shall have either agreed or disagreed, but in a mature way of how to look at issues. But as we approach this harsh reality, there's certain key areas you have to look into. I mean, as Ugandans, what does it really mean when our democracy, what does it really mean when our democracy is fused with violence as a mark for the electoral landscape? How will this impact governance? And then, you, the leaders, what do you think about the public trust? AKA Smoggy is the name and the host of tonight. And Bwana Eddie Cool is my guest tonight. And then we're just going to look at this issue, and then we see. Yes, Bwana Eddie Cool. I don't know how best I can bring this to you, but let me just pose only one question. Is Uganda on a time bomb? Based on the elections you've been having, is Uganda on a time bomb?
Thank you, Smoggy, for hosting me. And this very important topic of what has befallen our country. Uganda, as you rightly state, you say it's in a time bomb. Yeah, that's true. And one can say it's on life support because what is going on, it's very, very disheartening for a government led by a person who used a gun to come and overthrow an elected government, claiming that that government rigged the elections. You see, it's very painful, and it has been Ugandans have been crying, but and praying for a point in time when they will stand up and say, no, enough is enough. And the end result is not going to be very easy, not very good. Many of us are going to die. We are going to go into jail. And as you can see, even the president himself, he knows it, that a Libyan situation can happen because has said it. He says it. He's worried about what can happen. But the problem with him, he is weak to accept the truth. Strong men will come and say enough is enough. A nationalist will look at the country first than himself, than his ego. A Pan-African would look at Pan-Africanism and say, look here, Africa must rise above. So what we are going through and what is going to happen is a lot of killings. People are going to die. And Museveni and his government, his Kabul, they are going to struggle for legitimacy. And they've already started struggling. They are very uneasy. This is why they raided Robert Chagulanyi's home. They wanted to arrest him. But the guy was very smart. And he has been knowing it anyway throughout the campaigns that anytime, immediately, actually, I don't know why they delayed. They would have arrested him the day when he campaigned made his last campaign, not even to allow him to cast a vote. You know, they've started cracking down on no supporters or no leadership.
Yeah.
You know, they are arresting them. The shooting and killing of people in Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi's home is very disheartening. That's not an image you can show people and say, look here, this is what happened as winning an election. No. You know, and winning an election requires quite a lot of things. It's not only just being announced, but what has taken place during the elections is very critical. You know, we saw the campaigns were so military brutal. People were killed. Chagulanyi was beaten, and people were arrested with flimsy charges. And the crackdown started even before the elections. They arrested some of these people. We know the Sebufu, the one who somebody. I don't know really how to describe this man, who is the CDF, who said that I have him into my basement. He showed even he showed pictures, and he said he's teaching him Runyankole, as if his basement was a school. So that one meant something. That statement coming out of a general and who graduated from Sandhurst, it questions the level of what goes on in Sandhurst. And people asking Sandhurst, they're writing to them. They're telling them, look here, we want to really know, is this one somebody graduate from Sandhurst? You know, not even a general from Kabamba or from Gaddafi in Jinja would do something like that. We've had generals before.
Mr. Idi, what would be the credentials for a real general?
A real
for one to qualify to be a general, what are those credentials needed that probably that don't reflect the general we're having, the CDF?
A general is not a public figure. A general is not one who comes out to make reckless statements all the time. A general is the one who is strategic in his dealings, is unseen, unknown. He only comes out on state issues, state functions to speak. But here is a general who is everywhere, in the market, in the slums, in wherever. Why I say market and slums? Because he's always on the internet, he's tweeting and talking a lot of nonsense. A general, that is not other generals are crying. I said, look here, this is a general. Just a minute. I don't think you can even sit on the table with some generals and discuss issues. Whether he sits on tables and discusses issues, I don't think they respect him the way they would respect a general. But here is the thing: he's the president's son. And I think instead of calling him a general and a CDF, we would always say, this is why Madao calls him Museveni's son. And it would be good to call him Museveni's son because Museveni is his father. And he's becoming a general. It was not on merit. There are so many other soldiers who battle hardened. A general must be somebody who is battle hardened, who has fought who has credentials like he was in the battlefield somewhere, and he did the certainly recommendable things, you know. He went into the battle, one who survived bullets, one who saved others, into a particular battle somewhere. But here we have somebody who went and got jerry cans from somewhere in Zaire, either Congo. He just went and got jerry cans. Now here is the general which when you this we have a problem really. So
Eddie, how far should the army intervene into active politics? Yes, we can't refute it that the army is not part of politics. Whether we like it or not, everyone is into politics. But how far, to what extent, should an army?
before I go to that, let me finish about the general. The general is the one person and the CDF who submits to civilian authority. Let me repeat that. The general and the CDF is one person who submits to civilian authority. But somebody who cannot submit to civilian authority, there are a lot of question marks. Now, getting to your question about the military, the military has no place in politics. Politics is for civilian people, not the military. The military have to go and fight in battles. They're meant to be on the front line, not into politics, to start and issue political statements. No, they don't need to have even a side. They must submit to Ugandans and protect the frontiers of Uganda. They are meant to protect the frontiers of Uganda. And the law is very clear. The law is very clear. A serving officer, we saw some time back, some years ago, General Tumukunde was arrested for over 2 years, I think, because he made remarks. And when they arrested him, they said he is not meant to make, a serving officer cannot make such remarks. But here we have a CDF, somebody's son, making so many remarks, and even other military officers now, it has been normal. They've been in the campaigns, they've been abducting people. Now, which is which really? They're busy in uniform, using their advantage, the office of the army. Why don't they put off the office and then they come into politics? That would have been very different. But you saw them in uniforms. They are busy abducting people. They are busy beating people. They are busy campaigning and saying, "Look here, you people, you must vote. You must do A, B, C, D, and Z." So then it remains now to question: is this politics or it's something which is militarized? So it would require, I think, all Ugandans to hold the guns, and then we campaign, we do politics when we are all holding guns. That's what it calls for, because the other people have an advantage of holding guns. But here was Kyagulanyi. He was not even holding a stick with his team. And very smartly so, instead of holding his emblem, his flag of NUP, National Unity Platform, or his pictures, he held the national flag. But they went on to beat him and beat his supporters because they are holding national flags. And by the way, these people are just joking, because what Kyagulanyi has done today is very recommendable. Though some people don't see it, but they are going to see it very soon. If Ugandans today, those who are protesting whatever happened, bought flags, put them everywhere, wherever they go, they are holding flags. That is a statement which shakes the junta, And by holding those flags alone, even the military will fear to shoot. How am I going to shoot? They will shoot some, of course, as they've been doing, but at a point they'll say, no, but here, this is the national flag now. At some point in time, one can say that the government is fighting its own people. But here is the thing. This election, as they wanted to put it, it was not meant. I don't even see why it even took place, because it did not take place anyway. What we saw was brutalizing people, and some other person with a lot of advantage, doing whatever he had to do, using state resources, somebody who can even go and close a road for a whole day to sit in a road and campaign. And people died, by the way, in the vehicles. There are those who are going to hospitals. There are those who had the particular illnesses. They slept in the vehicles. So if you look at all these things really, and then you look back into 1980, what somebody used to say, that I'm going to the bush when elections are rigged. Now, where should Ugandans go? Because these elections were rigged. Yeah?
Eddie,
that is the question now. Where should Ugandans go? He said he's going to the bush. And already, what is going on today, they are witch hunting anybody and everybody who supported NUP. The son of the president has gone around saying that he's going to arrest everybody of NUP. Now he stated it on his handler on X that they killed already. I don't know, they killed already 22 people. I don't know 30, and they're going to kill more. A CDF and the general, you are killing people, and you even brag about it. Really, it's very painful. It's really very, very painful. And for now to be a Ugandan, that your CDF, we can't be proud of him. And by the way, that kind of authority, to me, what I look at, so many, as I said, are going to be killed. And resistance is going to be there, because these people are going to, they are doing everything possible to force legitimacy, but they can't. They want us Ugandans to be subservient, to submit. Maybe they want to go into the Korean way. But in Africa and in Uganda, you can't bring in a Korean style. It's not going to work. Because here we are seeing the gun. It's the gun talking everywhere. It's the gun. So it's very disturbing, and it's a very dangerous development. You go and kill some people in a leader's house, shoot them, then later claim that he's a rebel, he's a terrorist. I mean, how many terrorists have they been arresting and charged successfully in Uganda?
Eddie, before you continue, on that same line you're on, we're seeing that the president of Uganda, President Museveni, in his victory speech, he comes up and then he labels opposition leaders, and specifically the head of opposition, as a terrorist or terrorists, basically, seeking to overturn the results through violence. So my question here is just very simple. Where does it leave NUP in this situation, where they've denied or they've refused the cooked results as they claim, yet the EC boldly comes out and says, this is the official and the right results. Fair election, as Biabakama claims. So my question is, the terrorist aspect you're talking about. Museveni in his speech comes out and claims opposition are terrorists. Where does this leave opposition parties in Uganda?
One, I want to say those comments are very unfortunate from a head of state and somebody who was just who claims to have won an election. Those were not the words that would have been said or come from the mouth of somebody who has just won an election. He would be talking about his victory and telling people why he won.
How he has struggled.
Absolutely. What he has done for people, how Ugandans came to vote him back. That's what he would have been talking about. But starting to talk about calling the opposition terrorists, whatever, let me tell you something. That is what they call a panic button. He pressed a panic button. He's extolled the public and anybody who can interpret anything that is panicking. You know? So he is going to do everything possible to threaten whoever speaks against the brutality and what the outcome of the Yamukama elections. He would be calling up Ugandans, thanking them, to tell them, look here, thank you so much. He would tell and he would challenge the NUP or leadership that you were telling people lies or whatever. Because we did A, B, C, D, and Z, Ugandans wanted to support us and to protect their gains. But you see, even them, those people who were there in the tent, there was nobody that you could see that he was happy on whatever, or jubilating. You know, the silent celebrate. One can call them silent celebrations. The level of silence in Kampala and everywhere was very loud. The level of silence was very loud. I'm telling you, and indeed it is. Because if people were to celebrate, let me tell you something. They would be dancing and doing everything, even up to now. They would be on holiday, celebrating their win. But here, this is a first win. This is the safety. You know? Now, it's very dangerous for a president. And by the way, you should know, don't count yourself out from the terrorists. You hosting me on this show. You all say terrorist. And I'm a terrorist.
But I'm not opposition.
No. By the way, there is some people misinterpret. It's not about opposition. It's about dissent.
Threatening the status quo.
It's about dissent. The people who supported Kyagulanyi and voted him were not opposition. Yes, they were dissenting. What this government has been doing and has not been doing. That is all. You know, that is where we must draw the line. It's not opposition, and I wouldn't want us to keep on using that word here, that opposition. No. We don't opposing what? People are just speaking up and saying, look here, enough is enough. We are tired. Corruption, the level of corruption in the country is so high. You know, corruption alone, everything is decided in the state house. Everything is decided by his family. You know, you can't get a projects which would even be done by Ugandan engineers. They are being brought in by pseudo Chinese and who are not even engineers, but because the family, they get, you know what they do? They come and get some Chinese somewhere and tell him, look here, we want you to come and open up a company, represent us. We get this money. This is why you see show the deals. You know, this is why you see BVK machines failing to work, because somebody around the Kabul is the one who went and did to buy them. You know, so the entire thing. By the way, I'm saying this without condescending. That thing is going to collapse under its own weight, because right now it's getting smaller and smaller. There are no thinkers right now around that old man. Whoever is around that old man is there to manipulate him.
But we have the prime minister. We are having the likes of, a lot of, presidential advisors. They're doing the needful. We're having a lot of, the man is circled with a lot of, brave people. So when you claim that the body is sinking, I also doubt your way of looking at issues.
No, you cannot leave a person like Lukakana Rugunda, and then you have Nabanja as the prime minister. You know, we have so many land people in Uganda, respectable people with character.
But what have they done? Case in point, let me take it back now into the alternative government, because you've denied me to speak this, to say the word opposition. I will look at them as alternative government, where we've seen the likes of Segonas, the likes of Mpugas, they've gone. So when you claim that these so elite are not good enough, I think Museveni was doing the right thing to choose the likes of Nabanjas.
No, now again, when we compare
as in
that,
the elite,
we lose the point. Now, we lose the point. It's not only about being elite. It's I talked about the word character. It's also about character. Our long-serving politicians, those that we've been looking at and having hope into, they've also been doing into deals. To them, some of them, sustaining the status quo was very okay for them. That was all. Are you getting my point? This time around, alternative government does not require right now even educated people. No. We want people who can force this government to leave. Because these educated people come out and they get comforted. So long as they get into the AC, air conditioned, and then that's very okay. You know, if they were really into dissenting, when they failed to qualify in their parties, they wouldn't come back. They would say, my party has spoken, and my party is standing for an alternative government. And it's what I stand for. I don't know if now you're getting my point. It's what I stand for, an alternative government. And my party has spoken. Now that my party has spoken, let me support the position of my party. These other people we look at, we admire, they've not been respecting their party. They've just been riding on the party. They don't go into meetings. They don't listen. They don't take party positions. I'll tell you when they tried to caution Mpuga, Mathasi Mpuga. The likes of Segona did not accept to take the party position. They did their own. Honorable, what's her name? This other lady in Mitiana. She also Joyce Vagala. She also decided to rebel against the party, to stand with the party position. And these are people who have not been going to the party to talk and listen and get advice, discuss with their leaders of the party. You know, it doesn't matter whether they are land or not land. What they are looking for is change. I'll give you this. Mr. Museveni went to the bush he never looked for those who went to school. Those who went to school joined him later. Salim Saleh never had a serious formal education. No, his brother. Rijema, he never had a serious education. All these others, the Mugisha Muntu was whatever the messages, joined him later. Drago is not, these people, they never had education. But because they could do things that were necessary at that time. So even right now, that parliament does not need people who are saying that they are really educated. No, people who can stand for what is good for the country. That is all most important. And by the way, when we talk about leadership, leadership is not only about education. No, we have the people who not never had a chance to go to school, not because they refused to go to school, but because of circumstances. But they can manage. Those people have managed their homes. They've taken their children to school. You'll find discipline in these homes. You know, these are people who have who are acceptable in society. They command. Leadership requires somebody acceptable in society and somebody who can command, somebody who they can listen to. Now,
so Mr. Eddie, in the same line, let me command you to drag you back to the topic of discussion. We're looking at brutality and then violence right now. And I want you to just shed some light on some historical facts that have contributed to this normalization of violence in these Ugandan electoral processes. Just look at the nasty situation which was at Mwanga Chifumbi's, home. It was really so nasty. But give me some facts that one would at least try to relate that have really contributed to this normalization of the violence in our Ugandan electoral process.
Now, let's get this right. How did Museveni come to power?
Indeed, he chose to take the path of the bush.
He took the gun.
That's a real fact.
Yes, and he has used the gun, and is using the gun. Okay? And is using a gun. So what is happening right now is a repeat of the very self. To him, it's not about elections. To him, it's about the gun. If he has the guns, then he can do anything. To him, he has never believed in an election. Because if he ever believed in an election, when he lost in 1980, he would not have gone to the bush. He would have gone to court. And by the way, did he lose? His party had only one candidate who went through. That was Chiyonga. Even himself, Museveni, did not get a vote when he stood wherever he stood. And Sam Kutesa called him a Munyarwanda, and he told people that don't vote this Munyarwanda. Museveni was not voted. He didn't go through. Now, which election did he lose? He's a man who does not believe in elections. He believes in the gun. Now, these elections are just to blind people, to try and say that it's a legitimate government. But to him, behind the curtains, if you look back, all the time that we've been having elections, haven't you been seeing the army on the streets? He's been ordering the army to go on the streets. The late Kanyehamba says that the CJ at that time, the Chief Justice that time, had told Museveni that this election is going to be annulled. because all the judges say, no, we can't accept this, whatever has taken place. That is when judges had the integrity. They say, we're going to annul them. Museveni shot back and said, but what will the army say? The army is not going to accept that. Now, when the other judge had that issue thing, Kanyihamba said it, it's over there. When they say that the army is not going to accept it, so it's the army that decides, not the people. He has, behind curtains, he's been using the military. When you see, without that military, let me tell you something. You saw Chagula when he was moving around. Not everybody that was moving around was a Noob supporter. That was a Ugandan who is tired and saying, no, Museveni must go. You know, we need change. But behind there, this is why you saw that he had to deploy the military all the time to go and beat them. There are so many things that were happening behind closed doors that we don't know. Quite a lot. And a lot happened during the elections because they were switched off. So many people were killed and so many things happened. You know? So, to answer your question, Museveni came with a gun. He has been using the gun, and it's the gun talking also. When he talked, he told his friends, he's a very smart man, by the way, but he's very smart. The only problem is weak. He's very smart, but he's very weak to accept that, look here, enough is enough. Let me give this battle to somebody.
Do we still have some NRM, fanatics or NRM, those who are active in politics, who still have some bit of apathy in them and who still have some bit of integrity? And in any case, we still have them and they're still in the government. This violation has been there and it has been really brutal. Then how will they help the government to respond on these incidences? And what measures would...
We last had the NRM when we had people like Amama Babas there. There are people who would sit and challenge Museveni and ask him questions. Today we have a family. What we call NRM is just a word being used, but there's no NRM. And whoever is there is trading, doing business. It's all about money. You saw in this very campaign a lot of money which has been channeled through Wechizigo went around buying off people, doing so many things. There are some MPs I know were given 1 billion for election. 1 billion. Though some of them again lost. And who was giving them the money? It was Wechizigo. Some money was coming from wherever that money was coming from. And it was also told that Wechizigo has been holding now the briefcase where there was money for the old man. This is why she's been going around and whatever. She had nothing to speak, to tell people, but to practically show you that this is not about integrity. No, it's not about character. No, it's about brutal force and money. She's been saying that. That's what she's been telling people. It's either brutal force and money. This is why in her place in Uganda, nobody goes there. You know, you saw what happened to those people who wanted to stand against her. You know, now for what you talk about NRM having somebody of integrity there is nobody, and the NRM is not there. It's just the thing that is there, and very soon you're going to see it's going to be wiped out. Because
does it mean we're left with no one to rescue Ugandans? So what's the role of police then? Do we see as police done its role as, a mutual, ground, to create a mutual ground for this brutality and the violence which has been in these electoral processes. You've said the army involvement into this politics was totally bad. But then we have a neutral police. Hasn't it done wonders?
But everything to do with security is under the sun. The sun is the one who does it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, the country has the biggest security a country can have are its people. And when Ugandans will speak up, those ones in uniform, they will throw them away and run. It's only because Ugandans have not spoken. But look here, you can go. There are some areas some people are fighting back. They go to arrest somebody and say, "No, you're not going to take this person. This person is not going anywhere. What has he done?" There are some areas where those drones have failed to abduct people. So when you talk about the police, we don't have a police. Everything is dysfunctional. The entire situation is appalling. It's disheartening. It's very dangerous.
Did the police really do great wonders in containing protesters in Butambala?
Killing people is containing protesters, shooting them. Which protesters? Today in Uganda, we don't have protesters. These are dissenting forces who are saying no. Protesters, let's try and distinguish. These words in English sometimes confuse, and then people use them their own way. This is why now the other ones call them terrorists. You're calling them protesters.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones call them terrorists. But these are dissenting forces. These are dissenting voices. Uganda is not having protesters yet. We're having dissenting voices. And when those dissenting voices will rise up, let me tell you, Mr. Museveni and his son are going to run. Generals like David Nyefunza said it sometime. I said, look here, Ugandans, what are these guys? He's a general, by the way. I'm not a general, but he's a general, and I'm speaking the words of a general. I'm talking about a bush war general.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, a bush war general. I'm not talking about the Sandhurst general, but a general from the bush. He said, what are these guns? These guns are nothing. People can walk to Nakasero and go and tell them, you must leave. But it's just a matter of time. This is why when you ask me or something like, is Ugandan sitting on a time bomb? Yes, it is. Anything is going to happen at some point in time. Because you can, just like the military, when they fight in a war, whenever they are fighting, when they contain the enemy, what they do, they make sure they leave space for the enemy to run. Did you know that?
True.
Why? It's because if you don't leave space for the enemy to run, that enemy is going to fight back. And when he fights back, when he retaliates, there are going to be so many fatalities. What am I saying here? Ugandans are not left anywhere to go.
In that line, the head of the political opposition head, Bobby Wine, right now has no address because he's in hiding. What does this mean to basically the opposition or the NUP who had a theme of protest vote? And then again, why is the government so much on tension on Bobi Wine's absence?
First and foremost, Bobi Wine and NUP as leadership, they were awakening the people. And I want some people to understand this. There's a narrative going on there that Bobby Wine knew is going to lose an election and went into an election. Bobby Wine was not into an election. He was awakening people. It
Was
was
he doing exactly what you told me? It's time to do civic education.
absolutely, absolutely yes. He was trying to awaken people, to tell them about their rights, to tell them that you can stand up, because he knew from the word go that these are going to be the Abakamas fabricated results. And even if Yabakama saying if he started reading results that Bobby Wine is leading, let me tell you, it would have ended there. They would say, no, don't continue. Something would have happened. No, 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 no. If Yabakama stood up and said, look here, this is Uganda. But again, where Yabakama did not have results to read, he was being told what is he should read. And this is why he could not explain where the results are coming from, which districts, where, what were the scores on this place and wherever. No, to him, he was like Omugate. Omugate. What Omugate? People didn't want to know Omugate. We want to know what happened in Naiviri. People in who voted in Kalungami, for example, how many votes from Kalungami were from 7 and how many votes were for Bobby Wine? That's what people wanted to know.
So transparency was not visible.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Now, what Bobby Wine had already done, and I was told the people that, look here, you people be a Bobby Wine. Fight for yourselves. It's up to you. For me, he was a messenger. Where people like VSG have not been. Where people like Sarah Birete, who could speak from her screen or from a TV screen and tell people, look here, the law is clear. The military is not meant to do A, B, C, D, and Z. The law is clear. There's a lot of corruption, So, where is she now? She was locked up. So anybody, for Bobby Wine, he knew what to do. And he was very smart. First, how smart, and I respect him for that. He realized they go in the campaigns, they are going to kill people. They are going to beat them.
But does his hiding become a threat to the government?
The government is in panic.
Why should it be in panic if all went well? To the side of NRM, it was a fair and,
that is what I said. If all went well, they would even invite him and say, look here, it was an election and this is how things went. Please. But if you see what happened to Mwanga Chivumbi's home, at least that one we know. What else would have happened to Bobby Wine? They went, they killed the people, and nobody is talking about the people they killed. They are saying they went to attack a police station. Is a police station in Mwanga Chivumbi's home? Huh? So, this Bobby Wine, they want to get Bobby Wine and also do everything. And you've had somebody's son is saying he wants Bobby Wine's balls. He wants this and that. So, they are panicking right now. They want to lock him up. They want to kill him up. They don't know what to do. And just as they didn't know what to do during the campaigns. Let me tell you, a general must be a strategic person, a strategic thinker who can plan. Even those elections, they would have planned how to contain if Bobby Wine. But what was going on was stupid. What the military was doing, the police, a lot of money was used. What if they lost Bobby Wine to go and do his campaigns freely? What would have happened? Because they knew what they are going to do themselves. So what they would have done, if they're strategic thinkers, they would have left Bobby Wine to go on with his campaign trail.
Does it mean that if in case they get him, will he be able to allow them, or does his presence legitimizes, the fairness of the election?
They can't delegitimize anything. No, they are in fear. They don't know what they are fearing what they don't know.
Great. You've said Bobby Wine really played his role of civic education. And
And they,
before we go
and, they,
into
and right now they don't know what you can do is they fear international community as well. If you heard what the president is talking in his speech, he was talking about the Libya incident. And in Libya, the international community came in. So today, so many international bodies have issued strong messages protesting about the vote and what took place during campaigns and what is happening after, even the results. The UN issued a statement. It campaigns have been going on debates have been going on in the parliaments across the world talking about Uganda. The UK Parliament, they gave time just to Uganda alone to talk about what was happening in Uganda. It's happening in the US. It's happening everywhere. They are concerned. Commonwealth countries are concerned as well. So, and Bobby Wine he was so smart, and he was telling them, people, you're on camera. The entire world is seeing you. But they didn't want to listen to him because everything that was happening was being viewed, live. So,
Eddie.
and that one is bringing in a lot of question marks. It's because the old man is weak to accept, but there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure.
Eddie Cool, you've said the camera has really done an impact in exposing the government. And then you said it well that Bobby Wine's role was basically to create more awareness and then to play the role of civic education, which EC itself failed to do. And this crosses my mind in a question that I want you to just echo on a little bit before we go to a commercial break. The role of media and its influence onto this election. Because we are looking at this violence which has been really happening, inclusive media personnel have been also brutally beaten. I've seen many who have become victims in this. But on a broader perspective, what role does the media play in shaping this narrative around the the electoral violence, and how can the responsible reporting help in addressing this question?
I want to tell you. Let me try and correct you somehow. Today, these are the normal streaming media houses. They have become very, very useless because in a dictatorship,
The mainstream media.
Yes, they become very useless because they're not allowed to share certain information. When they say it, they are locked up. When they say it, they are arrested. They are killed. Their businesses will not take place. You've seen any TV, they were banned from going to parliament because they were questioning so many things in parliament. Any TV does not go to cover the president because they say it as it is. Now, media houses like NVS and others who submit to those ones, whatever they say is censored. But anyway, country, world all over, that's how things are. That some things must be censored. That is very true. But what happens? And do you know one thing? The NTV, why is getting a lot of trouble? They wanted to put up a debate, a talk show for somebody's son, and they were It was arranged. And they refused. They said, no, we can't do that. Our integrity doesn't say that. They said, no, our integrity doesn't say that. That's allow that. You know. Opposition leaders, especially, no, they've boycotted going to NBS, to their talk shows. These politicians have been invited to go there because they know NBS doesn't help them. But talking about the media today, forget about the mainstream media. We have TikTok, we have WhatsApp, we have social medias, we have anything. So people post things as raw as they are. Now it's up to you to interpret them, to either accept or refuse. This where there is a very big problem for those who call themselves NRM. You can't see that kind of brutality and then you say I'm NRM and I'm proud. I'm celebrating an election.
Mm-hmm.
You know. You saw where did the NBS start get information and permission to start reporting the results, whereas they had refused any media house apart from Biabakam. Even before Biabakam had reported, NBS was reporting. How? Where did it come from? You know?
So, it's a political center.
The media, yeah, it's, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. There is also this thing called the international community has been picking this information from most of it from social media, not from mainstream media.
Mainstream.
Yes, no, from social media, TikTok and Facebook, you name it.
So on look at things.
And the way here is the thing: if media houses were busy to go and report, they would have been at the talent center to witness to see where the results coming from, so that they also directly report that in Kanungu, Museveni got X, Bobby Wine got Y. But these were not there. They were not even allowed. They were there just as observers to listening post. So what were they there to report about? Which media house is going to report what happened in Kanungu or wherever it is? You know. So that's where there are a lot of question marks. That's where there is a panic. There's fear. They don't know what is going to happen next. And to those people, to Ugandans who thought that immediately after the elections, something is going to happen, that's not how things work.
Eddie Cool, just a moment. Let's just go direct to the online before you go ahead. Let's go online. There's one question for you. Actually, there are many questions, but then I'll just read only two, and then we'll go into a commercial break. There is one Abu Matovu straight from Norway, Oslo. He's saying that any lessons to learn from any ANC in South Africa. Any lessons to learn from ANC from South Africa? Then he goes ahead by saying because UPDF is against its own funders, the taxpayers. Are there any lessons to learn from there in a statement?
Any lesson? Oh yes, there is. There is. People are going to stand up. And at a point in time, this is what Bobi Wine was doing. He was telling people, you can stand up, you can say no. You know, civic education was banned in schools. It's not there. You know, some books like Animal Farm, you can't get them. They don't teach them. But what has been happening in Uganda is simply animal. If you can sum it up, it's simply Animal Farm. You know,
for now.
Yes, absolutely. It's Animal Farm. So
also back to the second point, second question. Is saying that how many people will will the regime threaten, and then what will they do if those they threaten are far from their reach and refuse to be intimidated?
But I think Abu Matov, thank you so much for the question. But I think you missed what I said some time back. This regime is in panic. It fears the people. It's not going to threaten everybody. They will threaten some. What they are doing is create fear so that others don't come up. But if people come up and rise up in masses, they can't do anything. They will run. They are very few in numbers. And this is known. Before some people didn't know, but it's known. So they can't do anything. There are those they can intimidate, yes. There are those they cannot intimidate. And those who are far, like Abu, please do your job and support any positive action that can help to transform our country. Because right now we need all the support. We need everybody on board. We need to put our minds together. We need to forget about so many other shades. Whether you've been supporting NRM or whatever, Uganda needs us. And we must stand together, we as Ugandans, and do something that can support the change we honestly desire. If people stand up, and we in the diaspora and elsewhere also support them, we can support them logistically, because by the way, we send money to Uganda to do things to our people, to help them because they're going into harder times right now. It's going to be very tough, as people might think. It might not be visible right now, but in a short, not even a long run, in a very short run, it's going to be very tough. A lot of money was used. There's a lot of panic. Who is going to be who? There's going to be a lot of fights within the Kabul itself, because everybody wants to be placed somewhere. Everybody wants to be a minister of this. Everybody wants to be this and that within themselves. By the way, now we are going to get a dangerous development, because it's going to erupt from inside. Whereas we, Ugandans, if we refuse to be intimidated, our young sisters, our young brothers, our children, to speak up, let everybody speak up. Let one be everywhere on the street. Let people carry flags. Yes, carry flag. And if they start arresting everybody carrying flags, then that means it would be terrible. Ronald Senta Musalongo. Yeah, we don't.
We love his jokes. You say Ronald Sentamu goes ahead by saying that a dictator wants elections and also without elections, both works in his favor. Yes, let's just cross over to a little commercial break, and then we shall just have another year or two, and then we see where we head. Yeah.
In the heart of Uganda is an institute designed to prepare students for rewarding careers in the vibrant hospitality industry. Copenhagen International Institute of Catering and Hotel Management is here to provide a solid foundation for Ugandans in catering, hotel management, knowledge and skills required to excel in various hospitality sectors. Our courses are designed by industry professionals to ensure that students learn from the best to create well-rounded graduates. We offer practical training and internships to students using state-of-the-art equipment which is used all over the world to prepare our learners for jobs both locally and internationally. We are located in Kisasi on Bahai Road, 8.7 kilometers from Kampala city center. Copenhagen International Institute of Catering and Hotel Management.
If I'm available, not dead, not senile, but I'm still around, and I have some knowledge, if you are really serious about your country, why would you not want to take advantage of me if I'm still able?
Museveni wakakwatiramu bwendekera ku Museveni n'amalusu ganjika ngamba budde butuuka ddi ageze akakwatemu tufiira ku street ku luno.
Let him come, muleke. You, leave him. Leave him, you idiots. You soldiers, get out. Come. Come. No, the other boy. That boy, you watch him.
You did talk about that's internet. As I'm getting from my friends in Mombasa, a ship was passing by. It hit an internet cable into two. So they are trying to locate the other piece to connect it.
To find themselves in.
The Electoral Commission declared President Museveni the winner of the Thursday polls with 71%. Just in case you got an opportunity to meet him, what would you tell him?
Maybe I would ask why they didn't give him 98.
Come again. The pressure increase or decrease? Come again. Increases. Increases.
Abantu temunakutandika kujaguza. Kyemwalaba mu community temunakutandika kujaguza. Bujaguzi nze natandisibda. Era ne wewe nzikatuka nezi.
Meya kuba mufulabe.
Yes, indeed. We just had a commercial break and some bit of humor, a political humor. In that little video, we're seeing a lot of things really happening. And the things I always look at Uganda. Uganda is well known for very many things. And when it comes to the humor bit of it, jokes, I mean, we're full of life. Unfortunately, the system where we're going, certainly the life may be pulled away from us. Talking about the kind of humor and the jokes, the president of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, is well known previously for his jokes, and people always loved his speeches. But in this previous election, he's a man who has not been so happy. The nature of language he's using is not that so appeasing. And then the man has been a little bit, I don't know whether he was sad, but what brings all this pressure, Mr. Ediku?
No,
what went from?
For starters, I happened to see Museveni when I was a young man, when he came to campaign and talking to people. I participated, I saw Museveni when close proximities. I saw a very thin man. He was talking a lot of things we couldn't understand, and he never had an audience. Okay? He never had an audience because he was talking things that people couldn't understand. It was his own world. He was talking about socialism and whatever. And that time, DP was on fire. It was DP and UPC. So when you talk about him, that he was very angry, one, the man is tired right now. He does not have advisors. He doesn't have a team because if you are going to do anything like a leader to go out, what are you going to talk to the people? Now, normally leaders, they sit together and they discuss. They even debate within themselves and tell them, look here, when you are the people, this is what people would want to hear. So he goes out to speak when he's prepared. I want to tell you, nope, Bobby Wine, people miss the point, but those are smart young men. Bobby Wine didn't say anything that he said by himself. It was something they had sat down. If you could look at the script, how things were going, how he could answer back, what he could say, it wasn't that it was coming from himself alone. No, it was acceptable and endorsed by them as a team. Unlike President Museveni having a Wekizigu around who goes on buying the people and intimidating people. They never sit. He's not a man that you sit to discuss and agree what to say in the public, what people can hear. You can't have a people like Ibalam around and you think you'll have any sensible thing to say. Everybody there fears the man. No, I'm telling you. And nobody can sit around that is advising him because he's the one who advises everybody. And the man
I think that Balaam does a great work to do damage control.
And the man himself,
you had him on the internet saga.
Balaam is damaged himself. Actually, he's not even worth talking about. I met this man actually in sometime back in Uganda. Before he became so known to wherever he was. I met him at Council Muema's place. Fred Muema. Fred Muema is his counsel. I met him there and I saw a guy, he was talking, and the guy who could talk non-stop. He was with somebody, but he was talking non-stop and sweating. That's what I recognized him. Then later, I see the guy on the screen, and this is the man I saw in Council Muema's chambers. That apart, the president decided to put off everybody who could advise him because he doesn't listen to advisors. We were told this by Mzee Byanyima. In Jinja, we were told by, when we were a young guy, we were told by the late Professor Chesumira. He said, Akasadako, mutakasembezanga, akasada kazibu ino. Let me even put it in Lusuka. Akasada kazibu, era abasugamba koba mutajja muli kujja musiko wa akasadako. But Chesumira was a DP guy, he wasn't UPC. But he was not supporting that man because he knew him. Now, people who know him, that man, during their days of the struggle, he had planned to blow up the Ginger Bridge. That is, block the Ginger Bridge to discredit Idi Amin.
Sure.
So, yes, it's there on the social media. You get that information. It's there in the archive. Things are different these days. We get to know information. Look for it. He said that he would let's blow up that bridge. And for starters, people who say that Museveni alete Mirembe, which Mirembe did he bring? Yeah? To put certain things in context, he was the problem that the country has had for years. He went to the bush, he was causing fears, he was killing people to discredit the government. In Luero, he was busy trying to parade the scales, the scales of people who killed and said Obote killed these ones. Then one general asked him, but you also had a gun. What was that gun of yours doing? Didn't your guns kill? Then he kept quiet. And this is why he has stopped even showing those skeletons. But most of the killings that happened there in Luero, it was Museveni who killed it. His generals are coming out like Otafire to say that, look here, when we used to put on UPC uniforms to go and do things, horrible things, we used to put on UNLA uniform to go and kill people. Then later we come back again and say, look here, we're going to help you. And those things will happen. So even up to now, where he is now, By that time, he also had some strategic thinkers on doing certain things who could tell him not to go into excesses. But right now, he has no strategic thinkers. Nobody can tell him, no,
Let me
don't
bring
do
you
it.
back to our discussion into the violence aspect, because we're looking at
Um,
elections which were brutal
when you talk about
going back.
when you talk about violence,
Mm.
it's who started to talk about violence. Let's examine that. Who started to talk about violence?
He's a king of violence, that is
And,
stated. And the
and
party itself.
he
Mm.
has been boasting about it. That to me, I'm a king of violence. Nobody can manage me in
So
violence.
should we say whatever he said was put into action in this electoral process this year?
Absolutely, absolutely. And he really, um, uh, um, Nope were very smart people. They said, let's not fight. We have a message. We have a role to play. We need to take this election to the end, to go and give the people a reason to stand up. You know, this why it was. He said, don't beat them, don't fight back. Don't you think those army men and whatever who were beating people and Ugandans would have stood up and beaten them? But Zimbabwe said no. That's what they wanted. He didn't give them to him, and they were very angry about that because they didn't want to go all the way.
Yes, Eddie.
They, they
Let's
didn't.
have a
They didn't.
comparative analysis on this area of violence. How does Uganda's experience with electoral violence compare to other, countries in the region? What lessons can be learned? Are we learning anything from the regional? I mean, the countries in our region,
Yes, we are learning,
or
and
we are
by
the ones being toxic to the region?
no, no. We're not being toxic. The Ugandans are very, very good people. They don't want wars. They don't want to fight, and Museveni knows that. That's what has been riding on. People don't want to go back to the Luwero thing as it was. You know, other
Mm-hmm.
soldiers don't want to pick up guns because they know even if they pick up the guns, things are not going to work out that way. But time is going to come, and it's going to erupt. When Ugandans will say no, they will say no, and it will be a no. I'm telling you, nothing is going to stop. And now that they know, they've been told, and they've seen there's nowhere they're going. You know, that buffalo kind of fighting is not there. They are all inside. We're all of us are in sound. We are being put in cycles so that we don't have breathing space. And when somebody does not have a breathing space, let me tell you, that person is very dangerous. They fight back, and it doesn't matter whether you have a gun or you have a bomb or you have whatever. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you, it can erupt from nowhere. I'm not. This is not what we want, but it's inevitable. And when you talk about other countries, how their things have been going on, countries
Mm.
differ. The countries differ, given their one level of civic education, civic awareness, and level of governance. Then there is they have their constitutions, the way how their
Mm.
constitutions are framed is also very, very different, which is from ours. We've been civic education was shut down for so many years. So that awareness that people can have to say no, it's not there. You go to a police officer comes to arrest you, they don't read you your Miranda's rights. You could ask them, what are my Miranda's rights? Why are you arresting me? But it's not there. These days they just arrest you and you accept. But you can say, no, don't arrest me. Tell me why are you arresting me? When they went to arrest Sarah Girete,
Bireta, yeah. Mm.
doctor, she asked them if they have a warrant of arrest. And why are they arresting her? Because she's a lawyer. She knows her rights, which not every Ugandan knows. Now, if the people around her area knew all that, they would not have let these people take her. They would have said, no, why are you taking this person? Bring this document, because you need to have an arresting warrant. And when you're arresting somebody, you must read them their Miranda's rights, and you must identify yourselves, which is not there anymore. And this is going to be very problematic, that people are going to start fighting back, and they will fight back to whoever is concerned. Nobody is going to survive, because now policemen, people, the police right now, and the state or security agencies, people look at them as an enemy. They are enemies of the state. They are the enemies of the people. And that is very, very, very dangerous, to turn the state against its people. It's very, very dangerous. They can't, all they talk, their braggadoos. They go, they brag around, they talk with a lot of impunity, no respect for human rights. You can't boast of killing people, that we killed so and so, we killed so many, we are going to arrest so and so. And here I say, who are saying that? These are soldiers. But there are certain things will be the police, the DPP, if they want to arrest anybody. But now here is a situation, they just get whoever they want to arrest at any time. Now that nobody is safe, it's even good for Ugandans to know that nobody is safe. And that's what Robert Kyagulanyi is doing.
Are we just going to keep on lamenting? Let's look at now the future outlook of our electoral process. What outlook does Uganda really reach onto when we're looking into what's the future of Uganda's electoral system in the coming years, and what changes necessary to be ensured in a peaceful democracy and other processes?
No,
let's look at the future.
No. I don't want to beat about the bush, because I don't want to waste people's time. Ugandans must raise up and send Museveni packing with this Musevenism. And then Uganda requires what they call a reboot. Organize ourselves. This is what no President Kyagulanyi was telling Ugandans, that a new Uganda, a Uganda that is function, where systems work. You can't have things when the systems are not working. Nothing. You can't talk about anything in Uganda right now. What are you going to talk about? Hospitals? To the police? You got the police, you go and report me to the police. You who is reporting me, you must pay the policeman money first before the police does anything to help you. So when you pay the police money, I also got the police, I also paid them money. And then we're in a draw. The judges, you see what is going on. Those are cadre judges. I remember some of these judges. I used to see them when they used to come in Danida. I used to host them those times. I used to take them around and they showed them through our organization, Nordic Minority. We used to help them and do quite a number of things. These were people of integrity. But today, a judge in Uganda, to be a judge in Uganda, to move around, they don't even brag, say, I'm a judge. No, because they're very, very useless. A judge who arrests somebody even before they have decided the case, a judge who just tell whoever case you take there, arrest, take Luzira, Chigo, Luzira. They cannot say no. This one, you can go back home and you come back and when investigations are complete. There's something. So what happens is we need a reboot. And that one is going to come from us all Ugandans. Like what Abu was saying, Abu was saying, that yes, that army we need is the army of the brains, the army of the Ugandans themselves, which can stand up and say, no, enough is enough. Tuverenga amage, tugende tugambenti, no. Do you know what they call amage? Or insanafu. Insanafu bwegisuulamu ekintu kyekitaagala they become very violent. Do you know that? They always move in a line. But if you throw in something to them, they spread around and they deal with whoever they get around there. I don't know if you're getting my point.
I get you well.
You're going to get a time that people are going to start dealing with each other. You've seen
put me in class in this. I'm sorry why I tend to interject you when you're still expressing, because you already made a point, which is very good. But also I want to take you on speed in the interest of time. The internet shut down in Uganda. Was it controlling the violence expected, or it was just stimulating the violence?
Like I said, those people don't have strategies. It was not, they knew everything from the word go. They knew the end result, how things are going to end. But this other process, that's where there was a problem, how to go about it. You know, they would have just been casual, leave everything, walk on. In the end, they do their own thing with impunity, and nobody would have, whether the internet was on or not. But putting off the internet did not help them anything anyway.
So there was no impact?
No, what impact apart from economic impact to the people? They wanted it to, people lost money, businesses, people lost businesses. Doctors could not operate their patients because they couldn't get in particular kind of information from the internet. There was quite a lot.
Online school, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of businesses were impacted. By the way, it was counterproductive to them. It was counterproductive. You get it? Now, to them, they were fearing that information is going to come in from Rutambala to tell us that, look here, when Bobi Wine afunye kenda, when Museveni afunye bibiri. That was their fear. But even though that as it may, that information is already there, and people are sharing it. And they know Bobi Wine won by about 7-1. I don't know. Even it leaked from their servers. The Bobi Wine won by 71% or whatever. So if you look at it, you analyze and look at it, the impact. They were panicking. They were looking at the Tanzanian thing that was in Tanzania, but this is Uganda. And that's where people should understand that Ugandans are not fools. It's not because they're not failing to react. At some point, they were going to react. They are going to say no. At some particular point, they are going to say no. Let me tell you this. During Amin's regime, my mother, doing her businesses, my mother was a doctor, but she was doing her own businesses. No, she was a nurse, not a doctor. She was doing her own business, side businesses of selling charcoal. Now she got a call. People came running. Those mobile phones were not there. That Amanda Baliga Tuara, the soldiers, the military police were taking her what? Her charcoal.
Charcoal, yeah.
From the market. She ran. She went. Let me tell you, she fought up. She fought them single-handedly. And even people were saying, Muleka Amanda Gomo Kazimuta that way. Don't take her charcoals. Why? And the military failed to do anything. They left the charcoal, and the people even came in to help her, and they went. What am I saying this? By then, people knew their basic civic rights, which we don't know right now, that you can fight back, you can claim, you can demand. And today, people are going not only to demand their victory, they are going to demand delivery. And to those people who think that the eruption is going to come from the elections, no, it's going to come from demanding the services. I'm telling you.
Let me have this, Bwana Eddie. Message reached well. There is, I'm always looking at very many things. In a good, there is always a good and a bad. Yes, while we're looking at issues of elections, yes, NRM, I'll just say congratulations, you managed to make it. However brutal things you displayed, you managed to score whatever you scored. Opposition, you still have a lot to do. But many questions are still pending. Why are still very many NRM people silent? Did they do something wrong? Or they're just satisfied that there is no need to say anything? I've been having issues sometimes trying to call some NRM so that we can have a talk like this. I've failed several times. I don't know where we can also have healthy discussions like this. But I've been failed many a times. But I would love to have an NRM, guest so that we can have, a nice talk show and then, yes, we table out issues. But
absolutely, yes.
or someone may end up saying that probably maybe NRM fanatics or other, people are into the Stockholm kind of syndrome. But what to say? Who am I to say? Let's just have a little video here, and then I want Eddie to give his take on this, on whatever is happening, and then later we shall be having it as a wrap, because time is also another area which challenges us. So let's just have this, and then we see if really NRM people are at some moment into the Stockholm syndrome.
President Museveni, who's on chair, will still remain in chair. Never think on that day that Museveni will leave this power by voting. No. Don't waste our time. Just go and vote and count what you know. We still want President Museveni. He has done nothing in this country, but a lot he has done. He's going to be the president, believe me or not. So this time we are very sure President Museveni will become the president. And actually voting, if you can take me away, it's such a wants to be an SPA. What about the president? They do not go on TV. If you are still crying for Museveni, General Mosca in Uganda is coming also. After Museveni, General Mosca in Uganda is coming. Are you going to kill each other? You shout and shout, whoa, 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 whoa.
If I'm available, not dead, not senile, but I'm still around, and I have some knowledge. If you are really serious about your country, why would you not want to take advantage of me if I'm still able?
I mean, what do you think of the young people who do want change, who want someone else to govern? Do you think that that's not sensible? That was what you wanted as a rebel leader.
No, me, I did not. I was actually dying to work with old people because we needed them. Unless you are not serious, these problems are big problems.
Do you believe there hasn't been a single candidate that could take your place in the last 6 election cycles?
They cannot. They would have been elected if they were there. They were not elected.
I mean, every election since 1996 has been marred by accusations of rigging, of repression, of crushing opposition and voices of dissent.
The only people who rig are the opposition. It is not us.
But then they would have won if they'd rigged it.
They are not able to, because we are so popular, that even if they rig, they can't manage to overturn or defeat us. We are so popular.
President Museveni, I want to ask you about your main contender, Bobi Wine. Your government has targeted him quite aggressively since 2018. Why? What threat does he pose to Uganda?
Bobi Wine breaks the law. That's why there are other people in opposition. You don't find having problems with them. But if you take each case, you'll find that he's breaking the law.
But why the violence? Why the violence from your security forces?
It is Bobi Wine who is violent.
I mean, his supporters have been beaten with batons. One has been shot in the head.
The beating was a mistake. But the Bobby Wine, you see, for these towns here are quite crowded. Are quite crowded. So we don't encourage processions or rallies in the towns, in the streets.
What I'm the one who is bringing it to woman. So I go to help you to see. What you are saying, not to me. I need nothing from you. So let's say that you're not really know. So when I go to see such a large crowd of my people to say, oh yeah, what? God will not like it. When I get a chance,
I wish the NRM could recognize something. If they think Bobby Wine is such a useless fellow, musician, why don't they ask themselves why we have reached where the President Museveni is a candidate and is not Latigo contesting with him and Bobby Wine. It tells more about him and the times he's been in power than Bobby Wine always contested. Because nature averts vacuum. And when there's vacuum, anything can be sucked in. But fundamentally, when you discuss the statement of Bobby Wine about these guys have many, there are few, when did that statement start? Did it start at the beginning of his campaigns? Did it follow some events that angered him? And then, for a young person like that, if you, even your own child, son, if you annoy him, you can say something outrageous.
Democracy in Uganda. For immediate release, January 19, 2026. Denouncing the militarized power grab and electoral coup against the will of the Ugandan people. The Pan-African Solidarity Network, alongside a coalition of regional civil society leaders, issues this definitive declaration regarding the state-sponsored subversion of the January 15, 2026 general elections in Uganda. We address you today because the light of democracy in Uganda has been forcibly dimmed. What occurred 4 days ago was not an election, it was a premeditated power grab and a military coup against the sovereignty of the Ugandan people. Superintended for the benefit of dictator Yoweri Museveni, who grabbed power by the gun and so despises democracy that he once famously stated that he cannot be removed by a mere piece of paper. On January 15th, he transformed that disdain for the people's will, as spelt out in the Ugandan constitution, into a criminal enterprise by using the ballot as a smokescreen to continue his brutal military occupation and family cabal.
We have overwhelming evidence of Electoral Commission, EC officials, security forces, and the Ghetto Brigade militia critiquing ballots in favor of Museveni while the world was blinded. Systemic terror at polling centers and the decapitation of oversight. The sanctity of the ballot box was desecrated through a coordinated campaign of state-sponsored terror aimed at opposing agents and independent observers. In a blatant display of electoral fraud, agents of the National Unity Platform, NUP, were systematically chased away from polling stations prior to voting or abducted immediately after to prevent them from witnessing the tallying process.
Museveni can never do any reforms. That's a waste of time. Because dictatorships are never reformed, they are dismantled. Because you see how you wage a struggle, political or otherwise, is informed by the type of threat you face. If you are facing a political struggle, you organize politically. If you're organizing a dictatorship, then you organize a resistance.
The often controversial soldier revealed that he's planning a people's liberation struggle against Museveni's regime.
People will rise up, they will demand their right, and they have already started. You saw what happened in Rukungi. They arrested when Besigye was going. The people went to the police and released themselves. The people can go to that state house, despite Mr. Museveni having those guns. Those guns will do nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. What will he do? What will Mr. Museveni do?
So we come back to the question of what does it really indeed mean for our democracy when it's fused with violence as part of the electoral landscape. It's really worrying when you hear statements from men of great eminence, men of wisdom, when they come out to speak, share wisdom. It's quite alarming. It leaves Uganda at stake. Very many people may not see exactly what's really happening because you cannot see beneath what's really cooking. For some reason, I was coming with a statement in the beginning by asking, is Uganda on a time bomb? Great analysts, they are seeing where we're going. They claim the ship is sinking. But my question is as good as yours, you the viewers. Eric, given that rider you've seen, give me a statement.
No, it's time of, there is nothing that can stop the wave. There's nothing can stop change, Uganda's demand for change. Just like General Tinyefunza stated it, that people can rise up. And when people rise up, nothing is going to stop them. No amount of killing will stop the people.
Where does this leave the likes of Chisakia Mukama, who claim Museveni is there to stay and they'll do whatever it means? Don't you think whatever we've been talking about, the electoral process is totally damaged by the likes of Chisakia Mukama, who are in NRM, who seem to be into the Stockholm Syndrome element?
But here you are talking about a guy who went on social media and showed his behind. How can
those
are
the elements we are seeing NRM empowering.
How can we try and discuss issues of a man who goes a family man, an older man?
But if that's what NRM has given us as a sample case, that this reflects NRM, is a leader in NRM. The likes of Balam are in NRM. So
that is
where does it leave the party itself?
I think no, the party. But I told you there's no party. This NRM thing is just there. So there's no NRM party. Let's get back to the basics. Where did NRM come from? They call themselves National Resistance Movement.
Yeah.
Yes, but remember, National Resistance Movement was the political organ of the NRA. You know, so these people come up and they call themselves. You know, the way Museveni has been doing these things. Immediately when they said we want political parties now, he knew he couldn't go back to the or whatever. I forget UPM. So he's just saying, okay, let me just grab this one, call it NRMO. By the way, it's called NRMO, not NRM. They put the word is meant to be called NRMO. Now, after that, if you listen very well whenever he's talking for us in NRM, in NRA. So if you talk, you can't say NRA and then you say NRM or as a political party. That we used to do A, B, C, D, and Z. What has NRM done for this? If it's political party, when was it given birth? When was it born? It was in 1980. When those elections, which elections were they? I don't remember very well. Was it 96?
Which one? The one they made in 95? When they're making the constitution?
After the constitution.
After 96?
Yes. Then we went ahead then to allow political parties space because we had a movement system. So he hijacked the movement system and called it a party, which was all inclusive. This way they are always boasting that we have LCs. The LCs are theirs. They call them there for NRM immediately.
Mm.
So this thing called NRM in quotes, it's not there. It's just the individual, and it has been with the time. It has been exposing itself, which has turned out to be just a family. These other people, like you, those Sacham Command, whatever. Our in Uganda, Vaita, Anonya Kawungo, just want to survive. Most of those fellows who are in NRM, they just want to survive. So if they want to survive, what would they do? Others can't think beyond like you do and say, look here, I have integrity, I have a character. You have a character that you built over time, a profile that you stand by. I'm here not because I'm talking not because I don't like certain people or whatever, but over time I've been looking at, look here, is this where we are? How are my children going to look at me saying Eddie's dad is supporting this kind of a government that kills people? A government, it kills people. When I say kills people, people sometimes we only think that killing people is only by the gun. By not giving people the basic services like hospitals and they die, by not giving people safeguarding people's lives on roads and they die, that's the government itself killing people. It's not only the gun that is killing people. When the people start dying because of poverty, because of disease, government is killing its own people, you know. But we tend sometimes to forget that, and nobody normally, most times people don't talk about them. Yeah? But the road carnage that goes on, it's the government that is responsible for the roads, for the people. We pay the taxes, and here is the thing: Ugandans are going to continue paying these taxes to a government that does not give back. You know, it can't happen. It can't continue that way. There must be change, and that change, as other people are talking about, it's going to come from within Uganda, Ugandans themselves. We don't need the foreigners to come and tell us what to do. If you're hungry, you don't tell somebody, hey, you wait around your wife to come back and cook food because you're hungry. You see, you're a man in the house. Like I saw a friend of some good guys, this media guy, uh, Andrew Chamangero. He said, "Yeta fumba, sinza kufumba, sinza kola bintu." But you are at home, your wife is not there, your children are not there. Are you going to die hungry? You'll go in the kitchen and cook. You'll find something to eat. And the law of nature demands, and nobody is going to stop the law of nature. The law of nature is on the side of Ugandans, you know, not this military cabal. No. And there is no level of intimidation that is going to stop. I'm saying this, and let people don't just force things. Let the thing, it's going to happen itself organically. Because if you start and say, for us, we are starting an uprising here, that is going to be very dangerous. But
Yes,
people, if you remember, the uprisings of the Ogerere about using it. Who told those people to stand up? Who told them?
No one.
It just came up spontaneously. You know, it came up and it was very difficult for them to handle it.
Yeah.
This where you see, by the way, people don't know where even the Segonas came from and whatever. That's where the Segonas came from and became really political threats.
Eddie Cool, all this has happened. The violence has been evident, not only in Uganda, also the international bodies have seen it. International media has at least witnessed. Given the fact that this has happened, what next that the fact that we've accepted NRM is there to take Uganda in the next 5 years? What should Ugandans expect
Now, let me
after
try
this
and
violence that has happened? What should Ugandans expect?
let me help our viewers and get it this way.
Politically, socially, and economically.
No, let our view. No, there's no Ugandans who has accepted. Most Ugandans have not accepted. You know, you can't accept to be ruled by force. Don't think that they've given up. No. What should we expect? We are going to expect the government has already started to to uh, to arrest dissenting forces, and there's so many dissenting forces are going to happen. I don't know how many they're going to arrest because the government is in fear itself. It's fearing the people because they know what they did was very, very grossly wrong, grossly dangerous. You know, they know anytime anything can happen. They are very, very much aware. They are scared. So their government is going to keep the cracking on the brutality, arresting people, killing those that they can kill, you know. And then even the people will be fighting back and say, no, this can't happen. And so we shouldn't say that people accepted it, and the government is aware people did not accept. You know,
In,
They are
in
just-
Danish, in Danish we say farewell to mean bye bye. Should we say farewell to electoral process in Uganda or elections to Uganda?
but have we been having them anyway? And what is happening today? Somebody was questioning. I heard somebody was saying that people are participating into the local elections. It doesn't matter that even if you participate there, because we need to fight for that space. You know, as you call up the Favel closing, let me tell you this. I have some NRM people, friends, by the way. I had not talked about it. When they see what I post on social media, they come in my inbox and they I will not I will not expose them. No, I don't do that. They come in my inbox and concede. Ejjoloza twalikoze tutya omusajja walikoze batya ebintu by'owandiika nga bintu by'oyogera byonna byonna bituufu bitukuba nnyo ate ebintu by'oyogera mazima naye what do you think tumwetaaga yeetaaga because of this and that but abamu some of them they want it because they are getting their kawogo there but that kawogo is for the limited. That's kawogo for yes, and a limited period of time. You can't enjoy it. Those very people are also suffering by them. When they go to hospitals, they don't get the services they want, and not everybody can be airlifted to go to Germany in a presidential jet to go and get treatment. You know,
Eddie, time is never on our side. Just one question, and it will be a wrap. We're talking about the violence, and we've talked about the democracy diminishing. We're looking at governance also. With this brutality, we're expecting nothing apart from more brutality. So my question here is very simple. With all this violence that has been manifested in this electoral period, where does this leave? What impact or where does it leave the public trust for the government? Will the people be able to be ruled? I mean, to be governed. Ruling is a really strong word, not worth to be uttered, but where is the public? Where do we see the public trust?
No, the public trust is already is not there, and that has not been there for a long period of time. So it's not there. This is why you see the level of intimidation to use soldiers, to use those dogs like in animal farm, the ones they train, the what? The pigs. So that is to say It's a decadent situation, and in that one, it's it's very, very dangerous. There is a lot of suspicion. This is why I told you they are fearing what they don't know, because they don't know what are Ugandans going to do. They know whatever they've been doing is going to come to a time to erupt. This is why they prepare themselves with having the son now is the commander. You find the commanders are from a particular region or from a particular tribe. The police, when you look at them, they're also from a particular tribe and the names are nearly the same. So they've been preparing for that. So because they've been fearing and they are still fearing right now, it's even getting very, very complicated for them because let me tell you, nature demands that change must happen. Whatever we're talking about, change must happen. And nobody
In
is
the
going to.
same line, Eddie Cool, that statement, change must be there. Yes, change is inevitable. So we've seen a lot of changes also in the other side of the alternative government. We've seen the G7 out. I'm looking at the likes of the Segonas, the likes of Mpuga, the likes of, I mean, give a statement on that DP block. And it's those who are aligned with them. And then also just give a few statements on the dropouts of Anita Monk in the strong allies of Anita Monk in Busoga, and the strong comeback of Kadaga, and then we shall call the show a wrap.
Let me start with the last one, the latter. Uh, when Musoga says Bay, he's saying Bay. They say no. And that is true. We are. When we say no, we said no. And Kadaga has been around and she has done something anyway, practically for the people in Musoga. There's an impact she put down on the people. Even people who are in opposition will vote for her. They like her because of what she has done. She has been very reachable. And by the way, it's not only in Musoga, in the entire country. If Kadaga stood up to be a president, let me tell you, Ugandans would elect her. This is why you saw somebody had the problems when they was standing for speakership, when she was standing with Olanya. They used a lot of money and a lot of force to defeat her. But she stood alone and she garnered some votes. She scared this. You know what happened?
Oh yeah.
A lot of money was used. Now, it's not only she has not only in Usoga, but what she has done in Uganda. And for the Basoga, these other guys, the ones we were talking about who were rejected, the Basogas are tired. They want to change. And they want change. And Busoga has always been for change. During the 1980 elections, the entire Busoga was DP. You know, they wanted change. They wanted something good. Now, getting back to, can you repeat the other question again? About
I just wanted you to throw a light on where is all this going to leave the likes of because we've been talking that change is inevitable. We've seen the big the big pull out.
Yeah, but first of all, where did they come? Before we used to have people like Chesimira. They were very big. We have people like Semogerere, who used to say, they pay the Democratic Party. Everywhere in Uganda, they pay. People come, leaders come and go. So let's not try to make a very big story out of this, that these people went. No, it's only telling you that even Museveni can go and he must go anyway. You know, Sebgoners have been doing whatever they've been doing, though they have their shortfalls. They've been running from one party to another, which is not a good thing. Apart from even my friend Semuju, they've been running from one party to another. Whereby you also look at there is also the survival syndrome, that it's only them they want to survive. Because there's a lot of money they've been getting, a lot of deals. Let me tell you, there's so many deals in the parliament. And this forget, whenever they're there, especially those for leaders of committees, if, for example, like PAC, they get a lot of money from companies, government institutions that they're investigating. So it's also about money. So for them to go, let them go, and let's not make a very big deal about it, because leaders must come and go, and it's the man. It's just like when we run in a sports. You know, I used to run 100 meters, but I wasn't the best, so they put me in the relay. I couldn't run the 200, so I could run the shorter one. So you have a button. You ran. I wasn't the best, and it was not always the best who was running everywhere. No, that best had a team of others to run, and they would strategically put either the fastest to be number one, or to be in the middle, or to be at the end. Which is to us in Uganda, we are personalizing these things to put them on some people. Yes, we used to have families in Uganda which were political families, like Adoko Nechon, that giant, that guy. He would speak and the country would listen because there was nationalists. But here we have some people who are just survivors, you know, who can't question. When they reached, they've done their own mistakes somewhere, and we've seen them glaringly. When the issue of Mpu Gavitano, the one of the award, it damaged them a lot. They did not stand with the people who said Impuga. No, they stood to support Impuga. Now, what else would you expect? Semujunganda said it openly that Impuga is my friend. Now, if somebody say, and he said it on the media, that Impuga is my friend. Now, if he said it on the media, the people are looking at it differently. Now, and that is the only bit that we saw or we know about Parliament. In the Parliament, there's a lot of eating. A lot of money goes on around here. That's why those people fight to go there, not to go there to fight for you. Now, if you take a person like Walukaga, who speaks for the local person, who came from the ghetto, what's wrong? What is wrong with that? You know, because it's not about understanding and interpreting the law. It's about standing on what is good for the country. It's what is standing for what is good for the people. To do what is good for the community. That is what matters. And I want our people to look at that. That they didn't this G7 whatever to go. People were looking at what is good for them as a community. So let's look at that, and let's not underlook anybody or overrate others. No. Others have come and gone. We've had the Psalms Wangola in Usoga, quite a number of people there, as I've been telling you. But they came and they left. You know? The Kazungus of UPC, the Kazungus of UPC would even come and speak out against UPC and say, look here, what we're doing is wrong for our people.
Eddie, you've given a statement, and it's really called for, and it's really insightful. Even though you've said whatever you've said, some human beings are immortal. I would love to send my greetings to Moses Ali. And then, because you're talking about people leaving, but some people are immortal, they will never leave. Moses Ali, greetings and congratulations upon to whatever time you're taking. But that said, I also love to change your script, and then I go to, before, leave me alone, Eddie, let me change also script.
I wanted to say something about Moses Ali.
That would be another episode of him, because once you Eddie, my time is my time. Let's respect Moses Ali. We shall have Moses Ali to see his achievement as time comes on. But for those who have been with us on our show, it's really always a plus. I just love to say thank you very much, Oscar Mutebi. Yes, I've seen you. I've seen Melo, the series, One Love Bro, and then Sintam Ronald, Finland. We're seeing a lot of Joe Tabla. We're seeing Dr. Agre. Yes, he's also there. I think we shall be having another episode soon to see the life of the border ride in Uganda, the ones we call Okada, and then we shall be having our person to give us a clear view will be Dr. Agri, because he's another hustler. Before he came into agriculture, he had a horse, a metallic horse, which is Okada, and others. You really, we always do appreciate being on our live shows. Just a quick reminder, Afroden Reports is a fusion of very many areas. We go political, that's why we look at our topic of today as an area of, we call it political lenses. But away from that, we also have, entertainment, which is Afroden entertainment fragments. We have also Afroden diary stories, where we get your personal life and then you share your life, because we believe with our slogan that the more you share, you create an impact on someone. You never know. And sometimes even the more you share, it's another therapy to yourself. So if you have a story to share, why not? Just a matter of just a call away, just a simple area where you just have to go onto our number, and then I shall give you the WhatsApp number, and then you just click on that, then you get the contacts. So if you have any story of yours you would love to share on the Afroden Reports, mostly you, the Afropins, it's not bad. We can also share the experience into the Afroden Diaspora Diaries. But that's it. Keep on sharing, and go ahead by subscribing onto our YouTube channel. And yes, go ahead, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Go ahead by liking our pages. This makes it easier for us to know that we're doing a job, knowing that it's easier to access you and give you the suitable services. So subscribe to our YouTube, and then like also our stories, and then like also our Facebook platforms, or any other platforms of Afroden Reports. That's it. We're going to a weekend, and I believe we've been so much into these political tensions, which I always say that it has happened. I always have this line, what next? It has been elections. Whatever came out, it's also going to be another process, an ongoing process. Get a reflection as a Ugandan. Go away from your political parties and look at Uganda as a big platform. Today you're there. Your kids are going to ask you, where were you when the boat was sinking? Were you in the diaspora saying, I don't care? Were you in Uganda just enjoying festivals or parties? Uganda right now needs you. Whether you NRM, whether you alternative, whether you opposition, whether you this, it's a matter of coming to a healthy discussion, and then we see how can we make ends meet to better our country, where no one is affecting the other. AKA Smoggy is the name. Allow me to say, have a great weekend. Let's see ourselves into another episode next week with Eddie Cool. And then we shall see, should we go entertainer or should we go political? Eddie Cool is a versatile man. I'm just so much draining him with politics, but he's a man who's so much versatile. So keep with Afroden Reports, and let's see you into another episode. Very cool. Just wait for the viewers, and then we call it a wrap. Very cool.
This is another Biamukama. Another Biamukama here is telling me to wave, is not allowing me to speak. So, but that's very fine. And it's the world we live in. You know, here is a man who say, njakulaba machine ziri bwe zinakola bwe zinatambula akantu ako nange nabadde bagambyeko aba computer. Now don't be like that man, please. Let me allow me speak. Thank you so much, viewers, and thank you to you all who have contributed, who have been watching, and those who have contributed. Please, we love you, and let's share this, because Uganda needs us. As small girl said, Uganda needs you. Uganda needs us all. It doesn't matter where you belong. We must save Uganda. The issue
indeed
is about being a. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Uganda needs everyone, and that said, just another area of thought. People in the diaspora, you are the ambassadors of the country. So shape yourselves well to reflect where you come from, and then make your homeland a better place. But that can't be done if our leaders are not also in proper shape. Leaders, you determine so much our being in the diaspora. If home is not good, the impact will be felt in the diaspora, and it will bounce back to you with a price. That's it. A blessed weekend, and see you into another episode next week.
Yakuyamba munange nakukwata ku mukono nakuyimsa yakuyamba baba nabako wakutuza era nzize kwebaza oba nkuyite kusiima eri abalina emitima egirumirirwa yakuyamba baba nabako wakutuza ekigambo okuyamba tokizanyisa abangi babeera n'obusobozi n'ekibalema okukola yakuyamba baba